Today, Rob Wilutis is going to show us how to make a great static progressive wrist extension splint. He's going to show us everything from the pattern formation to the initial molding, and then how to progress the splint as your patient is gaining wrist extension. He'll also talk about wearing schedule and things to look out for while a patient is using this splint that might indicate a change in the treatment plan.
I'm going to cut the pattern out. I like to make it long because it's going to ride up the whole forearm. See, I move the material when I cut, I don't just chop. Okay, there's my pattern. Taking out the material, I'm going to let it dry. This is how I dry it. You're going to get the hand, get your ace wrap. I like to pinch it before I put it on. And I connect the distal end of the splint. So I'm in the web, relax your hand. I'm below the distal palmar crease. And I'm pretty high up on the metacarpals, right below the metacarpal heads. Then I take my ace. So I get the wrist part down. The hand part is complete, and I ace wrap it. And then while the patient's in the splint, I extend them as far as they can tolerate. I like to go far down the forearm because you'll see when you're going to get them in full extension, but when they put this on when they're cold, they may not have that full extension, so they can strap it up proximally, and like after a few minutes of wearing it proximal, then they could restrap, then they'll put the end down. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so what's good about when you make this splint, anything dorsal, you make sure you pronate the forearm so the ulna comes up. It makes it in, so you have room for the ulna. Okay, now it's dried. I'm going to take it off. See here, our distal palmar crease is free. We rolled the edge. We rolled around the thumb. This is going to stay on. We fix this part of the splint on. You can see the head of her ulna. No. Okay, so again, when they first put it on, they're not going to have full wrist extension. You're just going to probably strap here. Then after about a couple of minutes, they're going to relax. They're going to get another strap on. And then hopefully before they go to sleep, they have all three straps on. They sleep as long as they can with the brace. Now what you need to look for, obviously, is carpal tunnel symptoms. So if they're complaining of a lot of median nerve symptoms, maybe they're wearing it throughout the day for an hour here and there, multiple times throughout the day. Obviously, Laura doesn't have any problem with wrist extension, so this is, this is an extreme angle here. So most people I'm doing this for have like 30 degrees of wrist extension, and we're working to try to get to 30 to 50 to 60. Okay, the most important part is that it is a static progressive splint. So as they gain more wrist extension in your treatments, you want them to sleep with a greater angle. So the beauty of the splint then, come on over, is all you have to do is dip it right at the joint of where the wrist extends. You don't have to reheat the hand part, which makes the whole splint hard to deal with. All you do is get the trough. Once it warms up, you can easily just dry it off. Slip it on, and and then remold it at a greater angle. So I don't get it completely soft where it's really drapey. I try to get it so I can manipulate it, but I can still manage it. And then I get a greater angle, and then once it's dried, I reapply the straps, and we're good to go. So maybe every week if you try to update it, if they're tolerating well. If they're not sleeping at all with it, they can't get past an hour, maybe you're going to decrease it a little bit. But you can keep progressively, the goal of this is to keep progressively increasing wrist extension. Okay?